What if you really sat with the thought, with the notion that you don't have to be doing anything, that your life as it is actually okay, and that you don't have to become something? Like, what if I really, truly, not just as some sort of quote I heard someone say that I try to live up to, but like sincerely looked at what it means, what it could mean to just be okay with where I am in life. It's actually funny that I'm making this video here. I'm at a park, and my birthday was the other day, yesterday. And I remember when I was about 21, 22, I came to this park on my birthday by myself, and I was going through it. Like, I was really unwell. And I even made a video. Maybe I'll splice that into this just to show you that I'm not BSing. If I can find it, I'll do that. But it's funny because I didn't do this on purpose, but where I was then, I was depressed about my life. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I needed to be doing something, right? Which is the topic of this video. I thought I needed to be doing something, and I was confused about the world and people and myself in relation to people, and why I was so sensitive to things that other people don't quite seem sensitive to. And I wonder if any of you could relate to that. I wonder if you could, nephew, I wonder if you could relate to that. Sidebar, I said nephew because in case you're new to this channel, I am making an archive of my perspective on life for my nephew, and for anyone else who cares to listen. I'm not like dying or anything, any more so than anyone else, but I don't know, I just had the thought of like, what if I passed away and I couldn't share certain things about the world that I think and that are not so common. He would go on, he would live, he would be fine because his parents care extraordinarily about him. And if you're watching this, kid, your parents care extraordinarily about you. And to anyone else watching, I'm sure some situations aren't so great, but to some of you, to be an uncle and to watch my sister raise a child and see the care she has, it is something else, the kind of care one can and should have for their child. And I know I'm getting all over the place, but I feel I've had that kind of feeling for children for most of my life. Especially when I was depressed. I couldn't fathom bringing a child into this world and being as messed up as I was in the head and not being able to help them. And so I think this is actually, these videos as a child of that mentality. It's a child of being in a space, having been in a space that I'm not in anymore, depression, anxiety, suicide, and wanting to relieve some of the pressure, some of the unnecessary pressure for as many people as I can, but definitely at the heart of it is with my nephew and mine. And it's really any family member. But anyway, so that's what this channel is. I don't have to be anything. In fact, what's very interesting philosophically and existentially, when you go into that, who is it? What is it that wants to be, that wants to become? Like, sincerely, ask yourself the question and observe it in your life. Don't ask yourself the question and then try to conceive of an answer through thinking. That's just going to produce an abstraction. Thought, as I've observed it in my life, thought can conceive the question, but it can't conceive the answer in certain situations, and maybe in many situations. But in relation to this, what ought I be doing, and who is it, what is it at the root of it that wants to become, that needs to become? What is becoming? When I go into it, the root is the wanting. The root is an idea. It's all tethered to a single idea. And that idea is me. What do I mean by that? You could say me, you could say ego, you could say self, Atman, whatever you want to call it. Me is an idea. How can I say that? Just look at it. Everyone is born into this world a whole individual. True individual. Indivisible. Not a separate little self who does quirky things with their body, with tattoos and yellow hair and pink hair. And if you have those things, that's awesome. I have tattoos. I regret one of them, but nonetheless I have them. But I'm not talking about that kind of individuality that is praised and you know, what people consider to be freedom. But I mean like true individuality, like the way you show up in the world that is unidentical to anyone else in the entire universe. Like how everyone is a snowflake, sincerely. There's no snowflake that is the same as another snowflake, and it's the same for human beings. Everyone's born as an individual. Then what happens? We're given a name. And it might seem inconsequential, but what's wrapped up in that name? Jeff he's a good boy, right? Jeff is a good boy. Jeff is bad. Jeff did a bad thing. Lisa, she's good. She's bad. I don't know why I can only think of good, bad. There's a number of things that are attributed to a name. He's attractive. He's not attractive. She's beautiful. She's ugly. She's all these things, right? We're inundated with all these attributes to our name. And believing ourselves to be that name, a name we were given. It's not like we came out with a name, hey, this is me. We were given a name. We identify with that name. And everything imposed on that name is now also identified with. The attributes given to you, the attributes conditioned by your family, we identify with that. That identity is me, is the me, is ego, is Atman, is all that. But all that is an idea, is a thought. Someone thought to give you a name, and all that came with it. So what does that mean? What happened to the individual, the flowering being, right? What happened to that? It was corrupted by the notion that this flower, this baby, is to become, is to maintain, is to be the person we want them to be, or aspire to be the person we want them to be. And that doesn't just stop with the family, but the culture says be this to be acceptable. The culture says don't be that, right? Be this, be that. So we're constantly being told this is what's going to give you love and this is not. And if you adhere to it, even if it hurts you, you'll be accepted. So the individual is stamped out by habits, by conditioning. But why must I become anything? Even if the culture says be successful. What is success? What is success? Like truly, have you ever thought about that? Success is an idea. It's all an idea. The name is an idea. Success is an idea. And And all of it, it's a fabrication, it's an illusion. And I don't mean that in some sort of deep fake, conspiratorial way. It's smoke in the wind. It's not what it seems. Simply, very simply. To be a true individual is to walk in this world amidst the madness, see that I am a product of that madness, a child of that madness compounded through time. My madness looks a little bit different than my parents' madness, but it's still madness, and that is me. That is the name. That is the ego. To see that. To see it. Not to see it and decide to change, because that is still an abstraction built off of the me and all of its knowledge, all of its capacities, all of its illusions. It's a plan that will not fix, cannot fix, because it's built of the same bricks of illusion, you see? But to see it and not move and not flinch, that it's the seeing that actually transmutes, transforms, changes, crystallizes into something else without effort. The culture will say, give all of your effort and change yourself, will yourself, self-improvement, self-help, all that stuff. I question that. I'm not saying there's no place for some of it. That's not what I'm saying. Maybe there's a place for some of it. Maybe. But the thing is, you have to be able to ask the question. If you can't even ask the question, you're just living by the dictation of the culture. And the culture may be absurd. I'm not the first person to say life is absurd. Right? I believe that was Albert Camus. And he wasn't the first person to say that either, if you really think about it. And we're all, the people who see it and don't flinch, are all saying the same thing, which is just look. Don't even want to change, in my opinion. Don't even try to change. That's irrelevant. Wanting to change, not wanting to change, doesn't matter. It's like if you were someone who watches the pseudo option, which is ridiculously nonsensical, PORN, porn. It's like if you're someone who watches that and then you see, oh man, this is not helping me in life, I want to stop. And then one day maybe you stop for a day, 2 days, and then you find yourself thinking about it, and then you go, oh, I don't want to think about this, I shouldn't be thinking about this. That's the same thing as thinking about it. Saying I shouldn't think about it is the same exact thing as thinking about it. So in my opinion, in my observation, it's not about wanting to change. It's not about wanting to be a different kind of individual. It's about seeing truly the danger of this corrupt sense of individuality, of this corruption of the me, which is an idea, truly is an idea, and it's not something we can get out of, because our only technology or our only tool, one of our only or main tools is the intellect, is thought. So we can't use thought to deconstruct thought, but what we can do is look. And in that looking, one can notice a lot, but there has to be no sense of me, myself, and my strong opinions. I mean, it is possible to some extent. Maybe you can't get outside of your opinions, but to at least question it, to at least sincerely question, do I have to hold on to this? Can I question it? Can I question the religion that I've been given? What's the point of religion? Is it subtly dividing me from everyone else? Can I not hear someone who doesn't adhere to what I've been told is truth? Do I even listen? What is an individual? Not who am I, but what is I? That's a sincere question that I've not heard anyone ask. Hardly anyone. Not who am I, which implies a static entity to find in time, which is a fallacy. But what is I? What is that thing which one calls I, and where is it? Can I point to it outside of my driver's license and outside of my bank account and outside of my specific experiences and characteristics that I've been told that I am and am not? Why must I become anything? Why must one become anything? Is not the nature of this individual, true individual, perfect in its own beautiful light, unobstructed? Because it is the me, the ego, that gets in the way of the flowering of this vessel. I've noticed that in my life. It's the conditioned cultural habits and acceptable behaviors, the pseudo option, which is ridiculously nonsensical, masturbation, eating, everything in sight, which is something I still struggle with, but I'm getting a lot better with, because I'm continuing to look. No matter what I do or don't do with food, I'm just continuing to look, and the looking is changing my intentions about food. I'm not going on diets. I'm implementing fasting. But these things are natural occurrences of looking. If I didn't look at what I'm doing, there would never be change. And I hope I haven't sounded contradictory, because sometimes talking about all this stuff, the language gets weird. Ask yourself those questions. This video is getting too long, so I gotta stop it, but ask yourself those questions, and if there's anything that I was talking about that interests you, but I didn't talk enough about it, leave a comment if you want to. But you don't have to, because like I said, this is an archive from my little nephew, so ponder this and be easy. 24th birthday. I don't know what this is. I'm just wondering about everything. I feel like I've been alive for a long time, and also I might have only barely lived